Today's the day we've been waiting for. It's the day that the power sheets for 2025 are finally available to the public. Hi, if we've not met before, I'm Shelley from Taming Frenzy. Now, I've spoken before about how much I love and adore my power sheets. I have been using them for the last 5 years, and I find that they truly do live up to what the company's name is. The company is Cultivate What Matters, and using the power sheets each year helps me to truly set goals that align with my biggest values and my highest priorities. But I have my set in, and I want to show you a sneak preview so that you can make a determination if power sheets are for you. First of all, when you get your power sheets, they come in a nice gift box and always have this color so you know what color you have ordered. That way, if you're giving any for gifts, it makes it real easy to determine. One year I bought a set for me for Christmas and for my son's girlfriend, and I wanted to make sure I didn't mess either one of them up and give her the wrong one, and that color thing is just really nice. Plus, when you get done, you've got a really heavy-duty box. You can reuse this to either keep your power sheets in at the end of the year, or you can use it as a gift box if you want. So, this is the one I ordered for this year. This is the lilac, and it is a lighter purple. They have several colors available. They also had a hot pink, which I have ordered in the past. They had a really pretty floral that I really debated about. I've used a floral one in the past, but this was a little bit different pattern. It was really gorgeous. They had one that I believe was a very light kind of sage green, and then one that was kind of a linen color with a very muted pattern on the front that also was pretty. These things are always gorgeous, and like I said, I used the purple last year. You can see the two, but I decided to go ahead and go with the lighter purple this year. I thought it would be a compliment to the one from last year. Like I said, I had a really hard time deciding. One of the things I like the best about these is these things are heavy duty. Even though I get into my power sheets really every single day, they don't get worn or messed up. You've got this great spiral binding over here that allows you to turn it back on itself so that you can set it on a desk or a kitchen counter and look at it. And then you've got these reinforced corners, which means that it doesn't begin to fray no matter how much you begin to use it. I mean, this is a really heavy-duty book. You're not going to mess it up with use. Okay, so I'm going to show you some pages inside the power sheets and talk to you just a little bit about it. When you first open it up, you've got these beautiful pages in here. And it comes with a calendar of events, and it also comes with some stickers, and it comes with a place for you to write a word of the year. And I'll do a video on word of the year later, but word of the year is something I have been using for the past several years that I actually find very helpful. It just kind of helps me set my intention for the year and to remember what my big overarching goal is for the year. So it's got a place you can put that, and then you can tape it and put it inside your power sheets if you want. And of course, you've got this pretty sheet. I love the fact that they are beautiful and that they are colorful, and you've got a place to put your name. Now, your first section of power sheets is all about truly cultivating what matters. It leads you through a process to help examine what has gone well for you in the past, especially in the previous year. And this year's power sheet has some different things in it that I noticed. First of all, just a page or two in, you've got this pretty page. Your cultivated year has just begun, and it's got this calendar where you can put kind of some specific things that you want to make sure that you work on during the year. You've got a place to brainstorm your year ahead, to just think about what are some of the possibilities. You've got a place here to talk about the things that fire you up and to reflect on those and make notes. You've got a place to evaluate your past year and to mark down the good things, the challenges, some of the lessons that you've learned, and the things that you are the most grateful for. Engaging in this exercise helps us to make a determination about what worked, what didn't work, and why, and how we want to change going forward. And then you've got these two sheets that is a way for you to evaluate where you currently are. Each of these different blocks represents a different area of life. For example, community, family, finances, health and wellness, home and spaces, spiritual and personal growth, work and learning, and then a free one for you to put in. And you can go through and rate where you are right now on a scale of 1 to 10, and then make notes about this area is going great, and maybe here's why, or this area I'm not as happy about, and with some ideas of things you can change. It also has a place for you to cultivate your mindset. Mindset is extremely important when we're talking about reaching our goals and achieving those dreams. This gives us a place to record negative mindset things that we deal with, as well as positive mindset things that we're incorporating. Now, I really like these 2 pages right here. This one you go through and you think about, what things will have mattered, because all of us have things in our life that matter to us more than other things. Everything is not a top priority. Just by definition, they cannot all be. But what are the things that will have mattered the most? And that's up to each individual to make those determinations. Also, what things won't have mattered? Sometimes going through and identifying the things that are not important is just as important as identifying what is. And then you've got a page where you're put down the things that you're going to say yes to this year. For example, that might be spending more time with family. That might be, more travel, more trips. It might be reading more books or engaging in a new hobby. And then you've got a column here for the things that you're saying no to. And I don't know about you, but I always have some things that I realize that in order to be my personal best, to continue my growth and my personal development, that I need to say no to, some things that just flat need to be deleted from my life. Then you've got a place here to brainstorm some ideas for goals. And right here on this page, they tell you, don't be worried about making a mess. This truly is just a place to brainstorm. Just because you write it down doesn't mean you have to do it. But on the next page, then, it does give you some examples or some ideas, just in case you need a little inspiration to get you started. Then finally comes the page where you've got space to record what are your yearly goals going to be. And it's got it so that you can break those down into categories. You may have goals in your relationships area. You may have goals for your home, some things that you want to improve upon, some things that you need to get done. You may have goals for your personal development. And it gives you spot for several, but obviously you don't have to use them all. You take these and you individualize these to make these work, to make your life the best it can be. And I also like that it's just got so many really beautiful, inspiring pages inside of it as well. Then you get into the goal setting part. Once you've set the big goals, then you come over to these pages. On these 2 pages, the first one has a place for what it is that you want. It says write out your yearly goal, and then why are you motivated to achieve it? I talked in a previous video about knowing your why you want to do something. Having a really strong why is important, and I do realize that sometimes we hear that so much it sounds like just cliche, but it is important. For times when your motivation is low, when you are feeling down, when you run into an obstacle, this is the time to go back and really examine your why and remember why this goal was important to you in the first place. Motivation and willpower can only take us so far. The why is what will keep us going. But then you've got a place to work through the things that you can do, some of the resources that you may need, what area this is in. You've got some ideas to do some more brainstorming about things that will help you. And then you've got a place to break it down into seasons or into quarters, however you want to think about this. And then it's got a place for you to put what is the next step. What is it, the Chinese proverb, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. We set these goals, and that's great. That's what we want to do. But then we also have to know, okay, I've set it. What's the next step to get me on the path, to get me towards that goal? And you go through these, and you've got several of these pages. That way you've got one for each of the goals that you set. And personally, I usually do not use all of these pages. I try to keep my goals to 3 or 4 big ones a year. Now, I may have some sub-projects and things beneath that, in which case I could use these, but I try not to set 8 or 10 great, big, huge, humongous goals, because I know that just sets me up to fail. The next section is all about setting yourself up for success. You've got some information here to read, and then you've got basically a year at a glance with the different months where you can write out steps or goals or sub-projects. You can use these however you need to, but it gives you a place to take a look at your entire year and the things that you need to do. These also can be used for just the things that you want to get done. A couple of pages on, you've got a place where you can put that pretty card that has your word of the year, or you can just write it here. This page is new. I have always taken my word of the year card and simply taped it into the front and used it up there. But I really like this page. My word of the year, we put it down, and then why I chose this word of the year. Because our word of the year needs to have some personal meaning to us. Because basically a word of the year is where we have encapsulated what we hope the next year will be all about into one single word. And yes, when I first heard the concept, I thought it was silly, but I've actually found it works. Then it's got a place for you to do a vision board, and then it goes through how to live it out and how to make a tending list. The tending lists are actually really kind of the heart and soul of the power sheets. You have those for each month. Then it's got a section here that talks about perfection. And the Cultivate What Matters company is not about perfection. It's not about making you feel bad or causing you to beat up on yourself if you don't meet goals or if you don't do things perfectly. It's all about simply taking steps and making progress. And that's something that we can all do. And then another pretty page, all good things start with one step. And then we get into the section that is the monthly pages. And you notice you've got in the brighter colored power sheets, you've got these brighter colored dividers. In the linen one, I believe it had just a linen colored divider, so it's a little bit more muted for folks who like that. It was very pretty. But here's for January, and I sit down always towards the end of the previous month and start planning for the month that's coming up. But it's got a place for important to-dos, a place for goals I need to make progress on, a place for things that are on my calendar, and for things that are on my mind. I find this is a great place to put my worries, my concerns. Granted, it's not that they're out of mind if I don't write them here, but it allows me to kind of reflect on them. And actually, sometimes I find it very helpful. If I've written those concerns and worries down, then I go back later and find out, okay, that's resolved itself, or that's something that has managed to not be an issue anymore. Something has happened to change that for the better. And then you've got a place down here at the bottom for those life categories where you can continue to rate yourself each month. And you'll find that your scores go up and down depending on what else is going on in life. That's not unusual. The next set of pages is your monthly calendars. Now, the power sheets are not a daily planner at all. They're not really a planner as you would think of in the traditional sense, but you do have your monthly outlook. And if you're not someone who needs a very detailed daily plan, this would be perfectly sufficient for you. It would be a place you could record those important meetings and things. You could record doctor's appointments, vacations, the big things that you didn't need a lot of room for. You can also use this. I have used this to write down gratitude, because since I also keep another planner as well for my daily things that I have to do, I have used this to record things I'm grateful for. I have used this to record just a little snippet of life, just a way to go back and remember. I personally then go ahead and use this area on the side. You've got an area for notes. For me, reading is something that's important that I try to work on every year. And so I take this place and I write down the books that I have read. I always set a personal reading goal, and some months I don't make that, but some months I exceed it as well. But you can use this side for notes any way you wish. And then this is new this year. You've got some more information about routines and habits here, because routines and habits will help you achieve those goals. This also, I believe, is new. This has a place for you to kind of map out your ideal weekly rhythm. You've got your days of the week. You've got time periods. If you have a predictable schedule and know that things are always going to happen on a pretty regular basis at a certain time period, you can block those off either with highlighter or just with pen. If your schedule is a little more unpredictable, you may only be able to put certain things in here that you know are going to happen. But this is something you can use to help you identify when you have free periods of time that you can work on your goals and other things that you're trying to accomplish. And then you have your tending list, your 2-page spread. Now, the first place is where you can take some of those goals or projects, write it down, and then divide it up into steps. I don't always use these. You've got 8. I always use them, but I don't always use all of them. But if you've got some, for example, some projects that support your goals, this is a great place to put those down. And then this page I check in with every single day. It's got a place for you to put some encouraging words, what your top priority is, or just to decorate this up and make it as pretty as you want to. Then you've got a place for the monthly action items that you wanted to get done, those biggest things, and then mark your progress. You can either mark the whole thing off at once, or if you're working towards it in spurts, you could highlight off just a little bit at a time. And then you've got a place to record the weekly action things you need to do. I record things like doing my menu plan, making sure I've touched base with all of my kids. You can set it for anything that you do on a weekly basis. And then it has a place for you to track those daily things that you need to do. You can use this like a habit tracker, but it only has space for 7. So if you've got more than 7 habits you're tracking, you would have to use a different one. But this is pretty good. It gets you on a really good start, and you simply just mark off each day that you do that thing. You decide what your code's going to be, whether you X out the days you don't or whether you just leave them blank. But this allows you to look back at the end of the month, and actually even before the end of the month, to see, are you doing those daily things that are going to help move you towards achieving the goal? And then finally, at the end of each month, you've got a reflection page, a month in review. You've got a place to record favorite memories, action steps you're proud of, things you're grateful for, goals that are going well, things that are not working, because let's face it, we all have those. Things that you read or listened to, and I find this interesting always to go back and review. Now, I don't tend to put books here because I put them on my calendar, but I find it interesting to go back and see what movies my husband and I watched or what TV programs we were binging on during that particular month. And then songs on repeat. If there's some song or ditty that's going through your head that you just can't get out of your head, this is a place to record it. I'm sure other people do that as well, but I know I tend to get certain songs stuck in my mind sometimes. Sometimes they're there for several days. Now, each month looks like this, but at the end of a quarter, you've got a place to regroup. So I'm going to switch over here to March. Okay. At the end of March and at the end of each quarter, it has a place for your refresh. This is a place simply for you to stop, take stock, and see how things are going. This is where you figure out if you need to change some things, if you need to make some small tweaks, if you're totally off course, but this is where you can do that. You can obviously do it before the end of a quarter, but this is a definite place for you to record those things and just stop and do a quick evaluation. It's got a place, again, with all of those different areas of life for you to check how you're doing. And it's got a place for you to record what you were previously and what you think you are now, and then to make any notes that you need to. And then it's got a page here called Keep Moving Forward, where you can evaluate your plan. And then it's got a page for refreshed goals. Here you would go back and look at the goals you set for the year. You would compare them depending on how you're doing. You may want to revise those goals a little bit. This gives you a place to do that. Or you may realize that one goal that you had set is totally not going to get done this year. You have too many other obligations and things on your plate, and you want to take that off. But here's a place for you to put your refresh goals. Now, you may just carry over the ones that you set for the year. Nothing wrong with that. But this gives you a place to write down new ones or tweaks if you need to. And then the next page is planning for the season ahead. It's got your place for you to put your goal, and then for you to put some action steps. And you've got blocks of those on this page and on the next 2 pages as well. You then have a place for a routines reset, and I'm going to be doing a video on Cultivate What Matters makes 2 workbooks, one on habits and one's on routines, that I have started using that I really, really like, and I will go do a video about those. But this gives you a place to think about the routines that you have and if you need to do some tweaking to your routines to improve those. And then just simply a note page, and then another place for that weekly schedule. Let's face it, different seasons of life, different seasons of year, things change with regards to our weekly rhythms, and this is a place for you to note any changes that you need to. And really the point of these is to help you identify what are your non-negotiable things. If you're still working a job, obviously you'd block that out certain times when you're working, because that lets you know that those are times when you're unavailable. You simply do not have the time or the ability to work on goals and dreams at that point, but it lets you identify the blocks that you do have so that you can be intentional with how you choose to spend that time. Anyway, that basically is Power Sheets in a nutshell. This will be my 6th one, I guess. I've got the rest of them back there on the shelf behind me, but this will be my 6th year of using these. I'm anxious to dig into these. Meanwhile, of course, I'm still working through the 2024. I'm pretty pleased with the way 2024 is going. There are some things, of course, that I want to change, but that's what 2025 is for, and of course the remaining quarter of the year. But that's these in a nutshell. These were launched today. So if you are interested in getting your own copy of Power Sheets, I will leave a link in the description below. I absolutely love these. If I didn't, I would not have bought my sixth set of these. Now, I will be honest, it's not a $10 planner, okay? But I look at this as an investment in my ability to become a better person, to really break my goals down, and to make sure that I'm setting my goals in a way that align with my values and my highest priorities in life that have to do with those big areas that have to do with family and work and personal growth and spiritual development, all of those different things that really, in the end, are the things that matter the most. That is the thing I like the most about the Cultivate What Matters company, is they truly help you focus on your highest priority, on your big rock, so to speak, and then the power sheets help you to set those intentions and those goals and to live those out day to day. You know, day to day is how we make progress. We don't ever just sit down at one session and go, I'm going to achieve my goal now. It's time. No, how we achieve goals is one step at a time, day after day after day, making progress. Anyway, I will leave that link below. Go check them out for yourself.